If you spend enough time scrolling through social media, you might start to believe that becoming a millionaire is an overnight event. You see the headlines, Millionaire by 22 or How I Quit My Job Today trade. But what happens when we turn off the camera, ignore the survivorship bias, and look at the cold, hard, empirical data? In the largest study of millionaires ever conducted, surveying over 10,000 individuals, researchers found that the median age for hitting that first million is actually 50 years old. Assuming you start working at age 22, it takes the average person roughly 28 years of consistent, boring investing to reach a seven-figure net worth. And no, they didn't get lucky with a trust fund. A staggering 79% of the millionaires surveyed received absolutely zero inheritance from their families. Today, we are going to break down the actual mathematics of wealth accumulation. We will explore the brutal friction of your first $100,000, and more importantly, we will calculate exactly how you can crush that 28-year timeline by targeting 15% or 20% returns instead of settling for the traditional market average. When we picture a millionaire, we usually picture high-profile corporate executives, specialized surgeons, or Wall Street bankers. But the data reveals a fascinating occupational paradox. The top 5 professions for millionaires are actually engineers, accountants, teachers, managers, and attorneys. In fact, 1/3 of the millionaires in the study never made a six-figure salary in any single working year of their entire careers. How is this mathematically possible? It comes down to defense versus offense. High-income earners like doctors often enter the workforce late, burdened by massive student debt, and immediately fall victim to lifestyle creep, buying expensive cars and massive homes to look the part. Meanwhile, teachers and engineers tend to live below their means and possess the analytical discipline to invest a fixed percentage of their income every single month. Wealth is not determined by your gross income. It is strictly determined by your savings rate. The journey to $1 million is not a straight line. It is brutally front-loaded. Charlie Munger famously said that accumulating your first $100,000 is the hardest financial hurdle you will ever face. Let's look at the math. If you invest $10,000 a year and earn a traditional 7% average market return, the formula shows it takes exactly 7.84 years to reach your first $100,000. During this phase, progress feels painfully stagnant. Why? Because as the math shows, by the time you hit $100,000, roughly $78,400 of that money came directly from your own blood, sweat, and labor. Only $21,600 came from the market. You are doing almost 80% of the heavy lifting. This is the psychological trapdoor where 90% of people quit. The human brain thinks linearly. If it took me 8 years to save $100,000, it will take me 80 years to reach $1 million. But compound interest is exponential. You just have to survive the friction of the first $100,000. Most financial planners build their models using a safe 7% return. But what if you actively manage your portfolio, focus on high-growth tech equities, or build a private business? What happens to your timeline if you can achieve 15% or 20% annual returns? Let's run the math on aggressively investing $1,000 a month. At a 7% return, it takes 26 years to reach $1 million. At a 15% return, it takes only 17.4 years. But look at what happens at a 20% rate of return. If you plug $1,000 a month at 20% into the compound interest formula, you go from 0 to $1 million in an astonishing 14.5 years. Here is the most mind-blowing part of that 14.5-year scenario. Look at the breakdown. Over that entire period, the total amount of your own money that you actually put into the market is only $174,000. The remaining $826,000 is entirely free money generated by the mathematics of compounding. By increasing your yield, you force the market to do the labor for you. Once you hit that first million, the rules of physics change. If going from 0 to $1 million is like pushing a boulder up a hill, and going from $1 million to $2 million is like chasing that boulder down the other side. At a net worth of $1 million, a standard 10% market year generates $100,000 in pure capital growth without you lifting a single finger. Your portfolio is now generating a six-figure salary entirely on its own. Let's look at the math for your second million. If you reach $1 million and you continue to invest $50,000 a year at a 10% return, the formula shows you will hit $2 million in just 5.35 years. The first million took you a decade and a half of grinding. The second million takes just 5 years. Capital has officially eclipsed your labor. Before you finalize your wealth-building plan, you must defend your timeline against 3 silent killers. First, inflation. The U.S. Consumer Price Index has historically averaged around 3% annually. You cannot simply subtract inflation from your returns. You have to use the real return equation. As the math shows, if your portfolio grows at 15% nominally, but inflation is 3%, your real purchasing power is only growing at 11.65%. Always adjust your end goal number to account for tomorrow's prices. Second, taxes. If you are paying capital gains and income taxes on your growth every single year, you're pouring sand into your compounding engine. You must utilize tax-advantaged vehicles like Roth IRAs or 401ks, so your money grows uninterrupted. Finally, sequence of returns risk. If you spend 20 years building a $1 million portfolio and the stock market crashes by 30% the exact same year you retire and start withdrawing cash, your portfolio can suffer permanent, catastrophic damage. As you approach your target, you must diversify into safer, fixed-income assets to build a shield around your capital. Becoming a millionaire isn't an exclusive club reserved for trust fund babies or lottery winners. For most, it is a highly predictable mathematical certainty achieved through extreme consistency, living below your means and letting time work its magic. And if you are willing to learn how to actively target 15% to 20% returns, you can rewrite the timeline entirely. Survive the first $100,000, optimize your savings rate, and let the math do the rest. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you currently are on your journey to your first million. See you in the next video.